what's up everyone, it's Emily and welcome back to my channel. July has come and gone. It is now August and it is time to do my July wrap up. In the month of July, I read 8 books in total, 1 that I'm still kind of in the middle of reading, and 2 of them were arcs. Overall, I would say it was a pretty decent month. I read some really great books, a couple 5 stars, and then some couple like in the middle. So nothing like terribly bad, and then just everything else kind of was just in between, and then some really, really awesome books. So grab your coffee, your tea, whatever, and let's sit down and talk about July's books. The first book I read this month was Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I did do a whole review on this book a couple videos ago. I will link that down below and I'll have it somewhere up above for you to check out. I gave this book 4.5 stars. Really appreciated that it was short, but it was so different than a lot of the other books I had been reading. It's 4, I think I've been saying 5, but I think it's actually 4 stories, and they're complete within themselves, but they all are kind of taking place in the same time. And basically it takes place inside of a coffee shop where if you sit in a certain chair and you drink your coffee, you can go back in time to a certain time, but you have to return before the coffee gets cold. Really great book. If you're looking for something short and emotional and heartfelt, this is definitely a good one to pick up. Next, I read Gallant, which I gave 4 stars to, and I also did a whole video on this one because so many people were on the fence about reading it, and I actually ended up enjoying it quite a lot. I explain more why in that video, so I'll just keep it really brief and short here, but Gallant was fine. It was pretty great, and I gave it 4 stars. It was not the best book I read this month, but it was enjoyable, and I really enjoyed the creepy vibes of it. Next, I read The Gilded Ones. I really loved a lot of the concepts of this book. I think for me, it was just the execution was a bit slow. Like, we spent a lot of the book talking about this big bad thing that was gonna come and that we were preparing for something, and then we got there and I was just like, this was kind of a letdown. And we spent so much of the book training, and I don't know, it just didn't really feel like it was going anywhere. And then at the end, it all happened very quickly and there was just a lot happening. But I really loved the world. I really loved the religious system that was built into this, and I did love what the author was trying to say about like the social commentary that the author was putting into their work. I really liked that. There was just a lot of it as well that I just thought kind of fell flat for me, so that's why I gave it 4 stars. Next is M is for Magic, and I have to say, if there was one letdown this month, it was M is for Magic. I think when I started this video, I kind of pushed this one away from my mind. I am a huge Neil Gaiman fan. I'm a lover of his work, and this one was bad. It was bad. In my review on Goodreads, I'm pretty sure I put M is for meh, because this book was meh at best. It was a conglomeration of a bunch of short stories. However, most of these stories are in other sets of short stories that he has, so just read those instead because they're probably better than this one. Honestly, I didn't like almost any story, and one of them was actually a chapter from the Graveyard book, which made no sense to me, but that's fine. I would skip this one, and I would not recommend it to people who have not read his work before because I think it would turn them away from anything else he's written. Speaking of Neil Gaiman, I also read Norse Mythology this month, which thankfully was much better, and I gave it 4 stars. This is just his versions of the retellings of some of the Norse myths, and I really do think he did a great job with this. I think the only reason I didn't really give it 5 stars is that, like, it was just fine. Like, they were just myth retellings. And he did a really great job with it, and I liked the way that he modernized the language in a way that was really easy to understand as a reader. However, I wasn't really blown away by it, and he didn't really bring anything new to it outside of his writing style. So for me, it wasn't anything super special, and so that's why I only gave it 4 stars. However, if you are interested in Norse mythology and you don't really know where to start, I think this would be a really good place to start because he does a really good job setting a groundwork for the world and the way that the Norse gods work in a way that's very easily digestible as a reader if you're not someone who reads a lot of academic things very easily. So that's that one. Next, I read Jade is a Twisted Green and Never Ever Getting Back Together. I'm gonna put these in a separate video because they were both arcs. However, I gave Jade is a Twisted Green 3 stars and I gave Never Ever Getting Back Together 5 stars. And the last book I read this month was Letters I'll Never Send. And this one actually is from a TikTok creator that I follow. Her name is Nicole. She is like the sweetest person in the world. And I really wanted to support her work. And this one kind of was the first one that I was drawn to from her, and obviously I liked it because I gave it 5 stars. We follow a girl named Sadie who just was released from the psychiatric hospital, and it's kind of her navigating her life after spending months in a psych ward, and we kind of explore with her, like through her therapy sessions and relationships with the people around her, what brought her to that place and also what then saved her from being in that place. Definitely heavy trigger warnings if you are someone who suffers from depression, self-harm, anything like that. This is it definitely dives really deep into the nuances of mental illness and how alienating and isolating it can be. And just dealing with grief, like when you are depressed and just grief seems to follow you everywhere, like. And it was so short too. I almost wish it was longer. This is one of the few books that I was like, I could have done another 50 pages of this because I really enjoyed watching the relationships, and I did end up crying reading this book. So this one got 5 stars from me just for that. But yeah, it was just a really beautiful book. It was almost like a love letter to someone's like mental illness, right? Like where you hate it because of what it does to you. However, it's a part of you. And how do you navigate life with that being such a large part of it? I don't know if that's making any sense. It was just really great. And I think she deserves more readers. So definitely check her out if you haven't already. And the last book that I'm kind of in the middle of right now is The Crooked Little Pieces, which I'm not DNFing. However, it's just a bit slow and I'm getting in a reading slump with it right now. And so I'm just gonna kind of table it and read it. And I'm still planning on finishing it. However, I'm just gonna read it here and there in between my other books that I'm reading for August. That is it. That was my real quick run through of my July wrap up. I'm actually really happy with how many I got through. I was feeling kind of slumpy in the middle there, so I think it really worked out that I had some shorter books to kind of push me forward. Although August, we will see. That is all I have for you today. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. It always means the most to me to see you all here. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.